John?
Ben?
If I ask you to rub something to see if a mystical thing comes out, how would you think? No, think about it. Think about it.
This comedy effect. I'm leaving the room right now. I'm not even involved myself.
I was only going to show you this lamp, ladies and gentlemen, because we're talking about Aladdin on this particular edition of Panto-splaining with me, Ben Baker.
Oh, and me, John Matthews.
And this is one from the Palace Theatre, Manchester, which went on stage between the 15th of December 1984 and the 26th of January 1985. Where were you around that period? I mean, I'm not asking like in a police way. I'm just generally curious.
I think, let me see. 84 was the Christmas I got my ZX Spectrum. Ghostbusters was out, so that was the big Christmas film. So, 1984 was that real key, when everything all comes together in your early years and everything's exciting and thrilling, and no matter what you do throughout the day, something new is happening. It was like that.
No. Yeah, my most favourite fact of all time about the movie film presentations. In America, you see, Gremlins and Ghostbusters came out the same day. 6 months later, here in the UK, both films came out on exactly the same day again.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they did. Right. And it made more sense because Gremlins is a Christmas film. So. Not interesting, but factually true. And that's the gift I provide for you here on Panto-splaining. Where we look at a pantomime poster from the past, as I've discussed this one, and as you can see here. Oh,
that's quite a colourful presentation, isn't it?
It is. We've been in the 90s where they're using photographs, but we're back to kind of photorealistic looks here. It would look perfectly suitable on the side of a waltzer or an ice cream van.
They've been traced, haven't they? It's a bit like a look-in cartoon strip. If it was the life of Annika Rice, you can imagine that picture would be on every frame, just copied and pasted.
Look at that. It's a groaning gift of names from the 80s there, to say the least. Sadly, groaning gift was not available for this particular production.
Should we say to the boys and girls that we're going to do this in 2 parts right now?
It's time we started getting these more regular, and I don't mean our bottoms. So
it kind of does mean that, listeners. It kind of does mean that. I
kind of do. So rather than trying to cram loads and loads of information into one episode, we're going to attempt a 2-parter for this one. 4 names each from this, as I say, a fantastic range of names here. And also Edmund Hockridge. I say that he's the only one. Because I don't remember from looking when I was growing up, but I'm not quite sure they did do many Tommy Trinder pullouts. Now I think about it. In the 80s.
There was definitely a Tommy Trinder and a Roman Holiday double-sided poster once, but apart from that, I don't really recall.
Hey, I tell you something. It says at the top, Paul Elliott presents.
Right.
And I actually found an article from December 84, which starts, if anyone has the right to be called Mr Panto, it must be Ian Panto. Every year, he puts on around a dozen traditional family pantomimes all around the country, and even in Canada, with himself directing. He not only writes the scripts, oversees the designs of the costumes, the props and cast, the shows, he even finds time to direct some of them as well. He always wanted to get into the theatre, although he didn't manage his own pantomime until 1969. He says, and I imagine he was smoking a cheroot at this point. Like kind of... It's a difficult business to break into because there's a small number of promoters who have all the theatres sewn up. And he put on Goldilocks in Hull in 1969, and since then, he's never looked back. And he insists on traditional stories, absolutely no jokes that go over the heads of the kids, and designed to make the adults snigger. I'm glad to say that the adult entertainment with blue jokes has gone out of fashion. Not here on Panto-splaining. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It might be family friendly. We don't know. I might say Willie's. I don't.
No.
Sorry, I've done it now. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to get a bit like if you can find something about the background, it's always nice to do so.
I'd not really thought about it when it said Paul Elliott. I immediately thought of the Chuckle brother, Paul Elliott.
Yes, indeed. Which is why I looked it up just to make sure. But no, it isn't. And obviously, we've come across the The Chuckle Brothers before.
And we'll come across them again.
Don't be dirty. Did you hear the sigh in my voice there when I realised what I'd done? It's a family Panto poster podcast, this, and I will not expect any bastarded smut.
Is that frost on your moustache, Barry?
I've been so. I think that's how the joke goes.
I forget. It's things like that, yeah.
I forget. So let's start with Sue. As another month, another Heidi High regular, Susina is not Sue's full name. It's just Susan. It's not as good, is it?
Susina's remind me I need to get some cat food.
But the story goes that Pollard appeared on Opportunity Knocks in 1974 and came second to a singing Jack Russell. But I cannot find any proof of that at all. That is what's on Wikipedia, and it's on a bunch of things. Maybe she's written that, and it's...
There is a still image which purports to be her on Op Knocks. She said she didn't have her glasses on, so she wasn't singing to the camera, she was ended up singing to a speaker. And that may be why she lost. She said in an interview, the Jack Russell Terrier was being held in the arms of a man who sang, "Oh, what a beautiful morning," and at certain notes, the dog would howl in tune. One theory about what was going on was advanced by Pollard's ex-husband, Peter Keogh, in his memoir, My Heidi High Life, which I'm sure we'll come to in a minute. Keogh speculated that the dog only howled because at key moments, the singer put a finger up its backside.
But to be fair, that's how they got Sue working as well. So I should be very careful because she's still alive, obviously.
Yeah, she'd like all this. She's a game old bird.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I found her, guys, I've mentioned the newspaper archive. I found her going back to 1971, doing a lot of acting and stuff, and she always seems to stand out in whatever she's doing, and apparently she did all sorts of tut along the way, as you do, I suppose, if you're getting into the business. Panto, I can find her from 1976 with Don McLean, Ann Aston, and whoever Paul and Barry Harmon might be.
Oh, my word. Good heavens.
Yeah, you say, not Paul Elliott, Paul Harmon. All connects.
Frost on your moustache.
No, I've just been...
I think that's how the joke goes.
Don't do that, or whatever his name is. Her first comedy role on telly that I can find proper was in a BBC sitcom called Two Up, Two Down, in which she played a hippie named Flo. Her and Paul Nicholas were squatters in the house of a nice middle-class couple.
It's got 2 bedrooms, 2 floors, one's ours and one's yours. And though there's not much space, it's such a nice place. The minute that we saw it, we knew we got 2 up, 2 down. We found ourselves a place in the heart of town. We got 2 up, 2 down. 2
Which,
great idea.
I've never heard of this before. I've never seen it.
No, I hadn't.
But
I watched a clip. Was there a full episode up, or was just the clips? I can't remember, but it didn't seem particularly funny.
No, it's rotten. But it's kind of like that's as punk as sitcom got in '79, I suppose. And I found an article from the Manchester Evening News from after she's famous in '84, and it started, "She puts imitation dog dirt in people's beds."
Oh, why?
She knocks on doors and runs away. And she once brought an office to a screaming halt by unleashing an infestation of clockwork mice. No wonder she hasn't been made a yellow coat yet. I want to be famous, Sue modestly declares. All over the world, an international superstar. That's what I'm after. There's a hint of self-mockery. She's 35 from Nottingham and the daughter of a data processor and a cigarette factory packer. What she won't talk about is her husband, the blonde, handsome 39-year-old Australian she married in May after a whirlwind romance, following their meeting when he was in a London stage version of Heidi High.
A whirlwind romance, you say?
I thought I'd just style it out and see if you noticed.
Good.
And this is sort of where Sue's story gets a little bit sadder, doesn't it? When we mention Peter Keogh, who she married him. And then he stole £4,400 to pay for a holiday with his boyfriend. She's a bit worrying. He was later quoted as saying that he was no longer gay because Sue was so sexy she'd cured him of that.
Yeah, he's published his memoir, My Heidi High Life, before, during and after Su Pollard, which it'll be on screen now, but look at that appalling cover font.
I mean, my friend Sue has read this. And when I discovered this existed a while ago, she did buy it and she did read it, and she said it was just, exactly what you'd imagine.
Self-published. Sue, she's very rarely commented on this since, and she said something like, I didn't know anything about this book because I don't do social media. I said at the time I couldn't imagine there would be anything too salacious about it. She pauses. As long as it's made him a few quid. So, she's sanguine about it.
She does. I mean, she seems like a lovely person. And she had a number 2 hit in the charts in 1986 with Starting Together, which, much like you, when Teenage Life was number 1 in, was it Tesco?
Yeah, that's very much it, yes.
I found it in the Telford Top 10 from the local paper archive at number 1.
It's the chart we all wanted to be in. The Telford Top 10 was what we all wanted to be in. But yeah, as we always like to look on Discogs for the stars of these things, Sue had a short-lived pop career throughout 86 on Rainbow Records. She put out an album and a bunch of singles. Then there was one single in 1990, her last appearance on vinyl, which seemed to be using the same cover picture as her first single, Come to Me, I Am Woman, from 1985.
Starting Together is kind of what people only remember now, if anything, which was, what was the theme tune to the wedding, was it called?
Marriage.
The Marriage.
We're starting together, taking a chance on what we feel. We're starting together, because we believe our love is real. We'll promise to have
An early docu-soap, if you will, about following a couple through every stage of their preparing to get married. And the theme tune was, We're Starting Together.
Well, it would be playing now, so... not quite sure why or how that came about, other than, she was a singer, I suppose, in clubs and whatnot. And the first single was Come to Me, I Am Woman, a cover version of a song by Frida, off of the ABBAs.
Oh, yeah.
That was in 85. A very sensible, straight song, and she said at the time she didn't want to do anything remotely novelty. It stiffed at number 74 or something like that. So I suppose Starting Together was an extension of that, if you see what I mean.
Do you know what kept it off number 1?
Chicken Song?
In the official chart, sorry, not the Telford chart.
No, not the Telford chart. Well, if it's not the Chicken Song, then it will have been something like Cliff and the Young Ones.
It was When the Going Gets Tough, the Tough Get Going by Billy Ocean Colour Scene. And at number 3 was Eloise by The Damned, which is extraordinary.
What a time, eh?
What a time.
A couple of years after her hit singles, she won Rear of the Year, which I'm sure you'll agree is one of the oddest and most incongruous elements of sleazy showbiz culture of the 20th century.
I'm appalled, I'm offended,
Yeah.
and I'm upset.
Right.
Because I were planning to use that for the next episode as somebody else on this poster also won Rear of the Year.
Oh, and that's a great teaser for episode 2 then. That we can save that for later.
Let's tease the buttocks.
Tease the buttocks.
Tease the buttocks.
There is one more. There is one more thing then about Sue. That the year after Rear of the Year success, she hosted the short-lived game show Take the Plunge, and I thought, I'll look into that. Sounds like a bit of a daytime game show, quite simple. And the rules and regulations for Take the Plunge are some of the most complicated things I have ever witnessed in my entire life. To the extent that if I was to read about now, this first half would end up going as long as one of our normal episodes. So on screen now are the explainer notes for Take the Plunge. And if that's not a lure to get you into watching this episode on the big telly, and judicious use of the pause button, then nothing else is.
It's extraordinary. And she's not a natural game show host, let's put it that way. But she's good at the singing and the dancing and the acting, and still very much in demand now. She's one of those people that kind of people went, oh yeah, do you remember Su Pollard? But actually people do, and it's generally quite fondly.
Oh yeah, I've nothing against her. She's cool. I like her.
I mean, I'd have a bash. Somebody tell your pals, innit?
The Peggy years, yes.
But yeah, apparently, going back to that Manchester Evening News article from 84, she said that she had one wish if she was the owner of the magic lamp, and that's to be terribly happy for the rest of her life. That'll do. I hope you got your wish. Bring. That's me doing a wish noise. It was good.
Right.
Anyway, let's move over now past the slightly upsetting genie, which at least, because this is pre-Disney, they're not doing a blue genie.
No, it's still the turquoise. The
turquoise tank. That's what we used to call it back in the day. You can't sell it now. You shouldn't do, and you can't. So
you say that, but the turquoise turk is going to be a song on the next Spray album.
And the last one. Let's go over to Matthew Kelly, who he has been very coloured in for this poster. It feels like he's got the big black tip filling in his beard a little bit. It's almost like he's got a crash helmet on. So, Matthew Kelly, who was born David Allen Kelly in 1950. He, much like Sue, actually, he's kind of another proper actor who find themselves in light entertainment, isn't he?
Yeah, wasn't he more of a sort of a stage manager or something? He worked behind the scenes at theatres and would occasionally make appearances on stage and stuff like that. And
he did.
He just got better and better at that.
Yeah, I mean, I found him in The King and I under his birth name, aged 13 in Urmston.
Oh, really?
And there's a picture here now, and you can tell it's him. No beard or anything, but you can tell it's him, definitely.
Is that Jack Whitehall on the left there?
Yeah, I think it is.
In the time-worn tradition of Panto-splaining, let's add some comedy beards to them and see what they look like.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, that works. Yeah, it was nature's beard, fate's beard, if you will, waiting to find his face. But yeah, as you say, he did lots of plays, both as a stage manager and on stage. And he was part of Liverpool's Everyman Vanload touring company with folk like Julie Walters, Kevin Tosh Lines off of the Bill Lloyd, and William Nye.
His Sunday best name.
And interestingly, for people who probably spend a lot of time watching BBC4, like me and you do, because there's not a lot else on, he debuted on an episode of The Good Old Days in March 1976. There should be some very for you to show of exactly. He doesn't have any words, but he's very noticeable, shall we say, with Hilda Baker, who no relation. You
sure about that?
As my dad used to say that when I was growing up, he used to say Hilda Baker, no relation. I'm like, I don't know who Hilda Baker is, Dad.
No,
I don't know who that is. But I watched this thing, this act that they do in The Good Old Days with him, kind of talking to this gormless, tall, friend, and I laughed a lot. It was very good. And then I realised that's where She Knows comes from.
Yeah.
Stuff, It's like, I very much enjoyed this to anything she did with sex offenders. This is the thing about Matthew Kelly, he kind of has a few modes. And so when I was going through the archives trying to find stuff, he did loads of serious acting. Then he sort of got into the light entertainment via a Jimmy Perry sitcom called Room Service, long forgotten, from 1979. And then Game for a Laugh was the thing that made him an absolute, household name. It was a huge series, wasn't it? It's hard to...
It was, and this is kind of what comes up in every time you read anything about Game for a Laugh. It was like nothing else on television.
Game for a Laugh, the show where the people are the stars.
It was this incredible sort of variety hour of in-studio gotchas, filmed Beadle pranks, variety acts, and all sorts of stuff going on. You're never really quite sure what was going to happen next.
It's very... I'm going to say coarse. I don't think coarse is fair, but it's very in your face.
It's funny, it's been said that the original format was called Gotcha and was designed as a BBC show to be presented by Paul Daniels, David Copperfield and Pamela Stevenson, but the pilot was apparently rejected for being too vulgar.
It doesn't feel like a BBC series, although ironically they would spend most of the 80s then trying to sort of copy its success.
But like you say, he was everywhere in 83. He was presenting CITV, he was doing Game for a Laugh. I think This Is Your Life was 83 as well, so he was all over the place. He was pretty much everywhere.
He was actually the first host of children's ITV.
Yes, yes.
Back then, because back then they used to do a month at a time. You'd have one host, and they'd pre-record all the links in like a day, basically, with them on a spaceship set. And you get people like Derek Griffiths. He did it. I think Bob Carroll's did it as well. And then people like Marmalade Atkins, the character, grot bags and stuff like that. So he was the first, which is... It kind of goes to show once again he'd gone from serious actor, light entertainment, kids stuff, did sitcoms.
Don't forget he managed to kill off the Children's Film Foundation with Gabrielle and the Doodle Man.
You can change your hair, you can change your face, change the clothes you wear, you personality, if you ask me.
I haven't seen it, but I do know it exists.
It's one of those films that you see in the schedules at Christmas or whatever. Think, oh, I'll watch Gabrielle and the Doodle Man. That sounds amazing. Then 5 minutes in, you're off doing something else because it's so fucking dull.
Summer 85, he had a sketch show on Saturday tea times called Kelly's Eye.
Yeah.
And it was in a triple bill with Bottle Boys and Ultra Quiz 85. Two things we are not going to explain because we want you to find out for yourselves.
And we might have to do them in a future episode.
Yeah, no, so that. Again, he sort of did that as a left Game for a Laugh. Did a few sitcoms, didn't he?
He did Relative Strangers, which is a Channel 4 Marks and Grand thing, which I assume was as dull as all the other Marks and Grand sitcoms. Brackets, except The New Statesman.
Fair. And Holding the Fort and stuff like that.
Relative Strangers was actually a spin-off of Holding the Fort. Holding the Fort was 1980, wasn't it? Pre-Game for a Laugh. The same character was Relative Strangers.
It was, wasn't it? Yes, it was, yeah. But that's just it. It's like he did a lot of sitcoms, basically, where he didn't seem to play a massively different character in it.
No.
Sort of a happy-go-lucky chap. Even though, later on, he went back into serious acting, and I've seen him do serious acting stuff. He's really good. He's a fantastic actor.
Oh, he's excellent.
Which is why it's quite weird. He went from sort of doing the light entertainment stuff to kind of filtering out again. And then You Bet happened, and his career revived again in a completely light entertainment fashion.
That's it. He sort of became Mr. 90s, didn't he, with that and Stars in Their Eyes. You know, that shiny floor, sharp-suited, effortless kind of Saturday night presenting that he did, and he was brilliant at it.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I have watched some of his first series of Stars in Their Eyes recently, and it's much better because it's still half an hour. So it was really 25 minutes. And there's no fanning about with people's tragic backstories or anything like that. It's just, it is literally like the Vic and Bob thing, you know, it's literally like, who are you? You look like him, here he is.
Well, you look out like him, Bill. So I can't wait to see this transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Decker is George Michael.
He inherited it, didn't he? Because Leslie Crowther had his car crash and then sort of retired. How long did Kelly do it for?
A decade, I think. But there was somebody else. There was somebody else in between Crowther and
Russ
Kelly.
Abbott did one, the Elvis special.
He jumped in quickly, didn't he? It's weird because, again, Matthew Kelly comes along as the super sub, and he is the face you remember. You know, you think of Stars for Eyes. I mean... Did Cat Dealey do it?
She did, yeah, in about 2004, I think.
At some point. I mean, Harry Hill did it, and it didn't quite work. But I enjoyed it.
We love Harry Hill. We love Harry.
I enjoyed it because I love Harry Hill. But
it didn't work.
It didn't work at all. And he'd be the first one to say that, to be fair. Stars and Eyes was like the safe bankroll.
I remembered that the original title for Underworld's album, Second Toughest Infants, was originally going to be Tonight, Matthew, We're Going to Be Underworld.
That's brilliant.
Which just shows how ingrained he was in culture back then.
Yeah, one of my favourite albums, that. Thank you very much for asking. But yes, again, Tonight, Matthew, it's still that, even whoever presents it, because it'll come back, it always comes back, you know, as a format. Matthew Kelly is another one of those we like.
Well, are we going to mention his arrest over allegations? Because it leads to an interesting story.
What, the Frank Skinner thing?
Yeah. Because Kelly was arrested as part of Operation Arundel, which, if you recall, was how they got Jonathan King. But the following month, he was cleared of all charges. But in response to his public arrest and the later media fallout, the treatment was raised as a motion in Parliament to consider ways to protect the anonymity of those investigated until formally charged. Now, the same year, Matthew appeared on the Frank Skinner show to discuss the host's jokes at the time. Frank was adamant about not apologising because he said, he's a comedian. It's his job to make jokes.
Yeah, it is awkward. It's teeth-suckingly, that kind of, yeah.
And of course, on the day that I was cleared, you and David Deal did a show, and you did some pretty horrible gags.
Were they horrible?
Yeah.
Frank, ultimately, he never apologised, but he apologised if it upset Matthew Kelly. but he didn't apologise for making the joke in the first place.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It was on Baddiel and Skinner Unplanned, a famous show from the noughties where Frank Skinner would be very funny and then David Baddiel would repeat what Frank had just said. The Michael Jackson documentary was on at the time, and Baddiel had said something like, he'd asked something about kids staying at Jackson's house, and Frank said something like, I hope they've phoned Matthew Kelly to tell him they aren't coming home tonight.
I mean,
So,
as a topical joke, it's topical, certainly. But yes, I remember that piece of television, and again, I think part of the why it was such a thing is that I'm not sure Frank Skinner even thought about that might happen.
No,
he seems genuinely blindsided by it.
But it's again, like I say, it's not like Matthew Kelly sort of let him off the hook.
No,
as polite society dictates you do on TV interviews.
It said it kind of killed Kelly's career, but I think he'd already decided he wanted to go back to doing like proper stage work and everything like that. So I think it probably gave him a good escape.
Well, this was from this point onwards when I remember him doing the straight acting, without his beard and things like that.
So he knew he was if he was in a bit of fun, he had the beard. If he was in serious, no beard.
Exactly.
That's how all actors should be.
It was the inverse with Robin Williams, though. If Robin Williams had a beard, you knew it was serious.
Or just one of those that he did that weren't funny.
As long as there's a rule of thumb, then I don't mind which way round it goes.
And again, the rule of thumb is how they got that dog to sing against Su Pollard on Opportunity Knocks.
Outstanding. Very good.
Back reference there. Let's move on to another. Again, this is groaning with fantastic names from our childhoods here, and I don't think anyone is more a bona fide hero than Derek Griffiths, or Derek Griffiths MBE, as he is now. That picture of him there, that artwork there of him, that is exactly how he is in your brain when you think about Derek Griffiths, isn't it?
It's iconic. It's iconic. The moustache, the surprise, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
You can't stress just how ubiquitous Derek was around the turn of the 80s, in kids' TV and adverts and just everything, everywhere. He was just...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I say, Play School, all the Look and Read songs, Geordie Racer Fly... Heads and Tails.
This is it. You kind of grew up with him. You started at Play School, went to Heads and Tails, then there was Bod. Then there was Look and Read, so you saw him at school as well. Then when you got home from school, Super Ted or whatever.
Yeah, he was the voice of Super Ted, yeah.
It was even like an episode of Terry and Jude in 85 as The Prince, which I can't remember, but I assume was a bit racist.
He did play some unfortunate roles, definitely.
But then by the 90s, he cycled back round again. He was back doing narrating loads of kids stuff.
Yes, but he was also in Pork Pie in the 90s, and Tim Worthington would not let me not mention the sitcom Pork Pie.
No, indeed. Was it about a pork pie?
It wasn't. It was about a man called Pork Pie.
Oh, right, I see.
But why him? But yeah, he was in Casualty this very year, assuming you listen to this in 2026. So that Small Axe that was on during lockdown. He's done loads of stuff. Although I looked...
He was Corey for a bit, wasn't he, recently as well?
He was. I looked at his IMDb and I thought, if you only saw his films, you might assume he only did sitcom to big screen transfers. As he's in Up Pompeii in 1971, Up the Chastity Belt, also in 1971, Up the Front in 1972, The Alf Garnett Saga in 1972, Are You Being Served in 1977, and Rising Damp in 1980. Then he's also in Run for Your Wife, the dreadful film from 2012 as well.
Lucky he wasn't operated on for piles.
We don't want to diminish a serious topic with our white viewpoints, but he was a regular blackface on kids' TV in the 70s and 80s, which was remarkably important. I couldn't work out how to articulate that without sounding racist myself, but I found this quote from Charlie Brooker.
You see, yeah, that sticks in my head, the Charlie Brooker quote. I remember it from the time.
I read this and it exactly encapsulated what I wanted to say, but was not as good a writer as Charlie Brooker is to do, if you see what I mean. You see, I can't even say that sentence. Charlie Brooker would have been able to say that sentence. He would have made that grammatically correct.
He's not returning my call, so unfortunately it's still you on this programme.
I'm sorry. Brooker says that as a child, he had an inherent, albeit incredibly condescending sense that he liked black people and wanted them to like him. He genuinely believed that a lot of that was thanks to Derek Griffiths, Griffiths being the first black person he can remember encountering anywhere in my life, and he existed only on my television. His colour absolutely didn't matter, yet at the same time it did, precisely because it didn't matter. And even Charlie, as a 4-year-old, could see that. And people always ask Derek in interviews if you've experienced racism at the time, and he always glosses over it. It's never something he wants to be part of his legacy, being this sort of pioneer. By and large, he says he never experienced racism.
There are certain people, it would break you if you found out they were not nice people, and he is like top of that list. It's stuff like he did the Vimto adverts in the 80s. Did you know he had his own board game?
No, really?
Well, there was a game called Bent Out of Shape, which came out in 1981, which is a kind of weird twister without the mat game. And I think it's an American game, but they slapped Derek on the UK box. I don't think he's integrated into the board or anything like that. But yeah, he's on the front cover of this Bent Out of Shape.
We'll get that up on screen now then.
And of course, the A Thief Would Like Your Bike cycle registration scheme thing.
Keep it locked in the garage or shed. And when you're out, lock it to a sturdy fixture where it can be seen. Remember, a thief would like your bike.
When you say he doesn't, it would be terrible if he disgraced himself. And this isn't disgrace himself, because although he did do the Chinese eyes whilst performing Melting Pot on an open-top bus in the 1970s, when he was shown the clip again on a clip show, he was appalled by it and said that was a disgraceful thing to do. So good for him.
I imagine there were times where he was on stuff like Play School and what have you, and at the same time the evening was in adult stuff, and he was in a sketch show with Marty Feldman of Marty Back Together Again, where he's on, and there's a fantastic clip with him and Derek Griffiths singing National Brotherhood Week, the Tom Lehrer song together, and it is fantastic.
It's as British as shepherd's pie, but during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, Edward Heath and Michael Foot are dancing cheek to cheek. Step up and shake the hand of somebody you can't stand. You can tolerate if you try.
And again, it's just the versatility. It's impossible not to gush, but he deserves it.
You look on Discogs, and he has had one single release, which was from his role in The Black Mikado in 1975, which was Tit Willow. And his only album was the Heads and Tails album. And kind of, you feel, like Rod, Jane and Freddie, this is a missed opportunity. You know, Cherry Red could do an amazing box set of Derek's music, all the stuff he did on Look and Read, all his little songs and jingles, and he's a really skilled musician, like the Bod theme, for example, and things like that. In 2014, Griffiths was presented with a BAFTA Gold Badge of Merit Award in acknowledgement of his unique contribution to music. He got the BAFTA Gold Merit. Now, whereas I have the Tin Badge of Disgrace.
You do, but it does have your name on it, which is the main thing. Yeah. You know, no one can take that away from you unless you stop paying your bills, in which case they probably will take that off you. So let me take off onto our final name for this particular episode.
Yeah, not long to go now, listeners.
See, this is the thing. We've spewed forth our delight and love and appreciation of the three names we've had so far. I don't know Edmund Hockridge. I don't really know much about him. I looked him up.
You looked him down.
I looked him up. I looked him down. Looked him round his trousers around. No, wait, that's something else. Canadian baritone and actor who started as an opera singer before moving into musicals in 1950. You know, we're talking about Derek Griffiths not having hits.
Yeah.
Edmund Hockridge, who neither of us know at all, had 3 hits.
Yeah.
In 1956, Young and Foolish was his biggest hit, reaching number 10, which at the time of recording, he was 36. His foolishness, I cannot gauge. I don't know.
His repeated appearances on shows, you know, he would turn up on variety shows to sing songs in the musicals. So he always was a household name, regardless of what he was doing. The thing is, you know, you go into the newspaper archive to dig out these fantastic clippings for us, and one of them, it said Edmund Hockridge, and it said, too well known to comment as his strapline, Which I thought, they're not thinking ahead. They're not thinking ahead to some podcast in 2026 where we need to know why he's well known. Please comment.
Found him with Bill Maynard, a former Panto-splaining
alumni,
toppermost. I found a piece that said Rolls record. He checked with Norris McWhirter one time to see if he actually held any sort of musical records,
right,
and found he held the record for being in 4 leading roles, one after the other, in a matter of about 7 years. I was pretty impressed. There you go. Norris McWhirter has found his way in. And also, I'd like to, if you could just bring up there, the 1986 Fiddler's Spectacular.
Oh, yes. Oh, look at that.
Of which he was the star guest. Nothing funny about it. There's nothing funny about fiddling. It's just a nice bit of fun on a fiddle.
I'm glad you came up with all that, because despite his obituary in The Guardian saying he'd lived an incredibly exciting life, the only information I could find was he'd lived next door to Ernie Wise in Peterborough.
Did he?
Apparently.
Okay. Do we have any addresses for there if people want to make some sort of pilgrimage? Hockridge.
If you want to make a pilgrimage, he lived on Thorpe Avenue. We think we've tracked down his actual house, but I won't put it on screen, so he doesn't get overladen with fans and well-wishers. In the last episode of this, we listed all the famous people who lived in Blackpool because we ran out of things to say. I did wonder if we could look into all the famous people who lived in Peterborough. Only Ernie Wise and Edmund Hockridge seemed to actually move to Peterborough. Everybody else seemed to move away from Peterborough. But people who were born in Peterborough include Annabel Davis, the actress daughter of Warwick Davis, Andy Bell from Erasure, Peter Boyzot, the founder of Pizza Express, Walter Cornelius, the strongman who escaped communist Lithuania by swimming the Baltic Sea.
Standard.
Joanna Dennehy, serial killer who murdered 3 men.
Ooh.
Jake Humphrey, a journalist and high-performance television presenter. Adrian Lyne, the film director.
Yeah.
Maxime from The Prodigy. Aston Marigold from JLS. And Henry Royce, the founding partner in Rolls-Royce.
I thought you were going to say Henry Rollins. I was going to say, I don't recall that being a Peterborough kind of accent that he had. But
Rollins-Royce. There's a crossover we need.
Nice. Let's make it happen.
Apparently also Jimmy Savile had a place by the Broke House.
You know what? Let's stop this episode because there's no time.
I'm done. I'm spent. I've got nothing else.
What I'm sad about is that Peterborough did not live in Peterborough.
Peterborough, the ventriloquist, the Archie Andrews man from yesteryear, you mean?
Yes, of course, yeah. We're big fans. As you know, who knows, he might turn up on another poster.
But I wonder if he's ever been to Peterborough.
Oh.
If we find any information in the ensuing time before this comes out, it'll be on screen now.
Bring. You can put, there's no information if need be there. I just thought I'd give you a sound effect, just to...
It was good. It's a good sound effect. We always need sound effects.
So that concludes this episode of Panto-splaining. But as you see, there are still names left to be talked about. Some of them I'm more concerned about than others.
Well, can you imagine? Just imagine how we're going to deal with Rice, Carol G's, Trinder, and Malt. Come on. You know you want to come back, don't you? You know you want to come back.
I am very worried that you should... Well, what I'm saying is you should, when it comes out, watch it early because it might get pulled for legal reasons. Fingers crossed.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today.